If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First and foremost, it's free. Then there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.FM. Anchor.fm to get started. Greetings, Earthlings. My name is Carlton Ennis, and I am joined by Craig Lindo and Mo Lotfi, and we welcome you to our show, Unsolicited Genius. Here we share our thoughts, opinions, and perspectives on the happenings in our world. We know you didn't ask us, but we're giving it to you anyway.
You are now listening to the
Unsolicited Genius.
The Genius.
Unsolicited Genius.
Craig D. Mo Lotfi. You are listening to
Unsolicited Genius. Unsolicited Genius.
The Genius.
Unsolicited Genius.
Craig D. Mo Lotfi.
Unsolicited Genius.
You are listening to Unsolicited Genius.
What's up, fellas? What's going on?
What's going on, Carlton? What's going on, Craig? How are you, my brothers?
Most CI, I'm trying to get these wins, man.
I'm just happy to be here, man. It's another blessed, beautiful day, and I get to participate in it.
Mm-hmm. Tom Brady feels the same way.
All right, well, yeah. So let's talk about that. Jump into our housekeeping first, though, Mo. So,
Word.
we talked Super Bowl last show. So, and we all made picks. Two of us were on point. One of us wasn't. So, what's your perspective now on the Brady Bucks?
I was the one that was not on point because I picked the Chiefs, but I wanted Tampa to win. So I'm happy that Tampa won. I gotta give credit. I gotta give credit and props to Craig, man. Craig is the mentioned that the O lineman being hurt for Kansas City would play a big factor in this game. I thought Kansas City would be able to overcome the way they have all year, but Craig was right. I mean, Mahomes was
that duct tape ran out, bro.
yeah, I mean, he's running for his life. I mean, Carlton, he would take the snap and he was almost instantly scrambling.
Yes.
I saw an amazing stat on the game in terms of the pressure they got on Mahomes. He scrambled, meaning running around, trying to get away from them, for 450 yards in this game, Carlton. 450 yards he scrambled.
That's horizontal yardage. That's not north-south.
Just horizontal, trying to avoid the rush. That is an unbelievable amount of yards, man. That is the kind of pressure he was under. I don't think this is a knock on Mahomes.
No, not at all.
I think he was under unbelievable pressure, but in terms of his legacy, I agree with the people that say if Mahomes' goal was to become the greatest quarterback of all time, that took a huge hit on Sunday, because the guy that is the GOAT has 7 now, and he would have beat him for one of these Super Bowls. The other thing is, man, Mahomes has been a starter 3 years, right? 3 years he's been the starter. Once he won the Super Bowl, the other 2 times he got knocked out have been by Brady. And it's not young Brady that's doing it to him. It's 40-something-year-old Brady that's doing it to him.
I hear that.
The GOAT and the kid.
Yeah, I don't see the kid ever surpassing the GOAT.
Well, here's the thing.
Quite
literally speaking, a baby goat is a kid. He's a kid for real.
Yeah.
Maybe 15, 20 years from now, he'd have done enough amazing things. And had enough rings that you can grow and mature from the kid into the GOAT.
But
right now,
you have to win.
Thomas, middle name, Brady is the current GOAT.
So let me ask you something. If Mahomes were somehow able to win 6 more Super Bowls, which would be unbelievably difficult, and he has 7 and Brady has 7, you don't give it to Brady?
It would, I think at that point, you would have to look at how they did it. On the road to 7, who did it better? Who faced,
but
depending on what they faced, who they faced,
now,
adversities and challenges.
Right? Lucky for Mahomes, Eli has retired, right? So he don't have to worry about facing elite Eli. So continue, Mo.
Hey, you mentioned,
Mahomes
as you mentioned
Eli,
that.
Mahomes' Eli is Tom Brady. His Eli is Tom Brady. This is the only man that takes him out of the playoffs.
No, you got a valid point, but then I guess the question still is, what will? So let me say it this way: what will Mahomes need to do in order to be the GOAT? We know he needs 6 more rings.
I mean,
just win, baby.
We have to surpass Brady. But dog, we are talking like this is in the realm of possibility because of Brady, because Brady has 7. But dog, this is almost fucking impossible.
It is. I don't expect it to happen. I think a lot of people were kind of gassing this up a little too much.
But we didn't think Georgia was going to win either. We didn't think Georgia was going to go blue. So we've been wrong before.
Touche.
Yes,
but I see this. The other thing that I want to say, you brought up the New York Giants. The last time we saw a defensive line like this was the NASCAR line that helped take out Brady. I know a lot of people want to give props to Eli on that. I give it to the NASCAR line, but that's just me.
No, you got to give Eli his props too.
We'll
see, the Giants D line is better than this Tampa D line.
Man, y'all speaking my love language. Keep talking about the Giants. Keep going.
Yeah, the Giants D line, to me, that won those championships is better than this Tampa D line. This Tampa D line is good, but like you said last week, Craig, I mean, the big advantage for this Tampa D line going into this Super Bowl, you combine their skill with the injuries on Kansas City's offensive line, and you had the perfect storm.
Whereas they're not as good as the NASCAR line, but they're good.
Yeah, whereas New England and the Giants, both teams were healthy, and the Giants D-line just pummeled them. Like, that's what they did. I mean, to Craig's point, though, that is true. Any team that can get pressure on the quarterback without blitzing, with just rushing their front 4, has a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, look at the names on that D-line.
I'll give you an example of a team that I think is up and coming. And they're a decent quarterback away from being a legit contender. And you're not going to like this, Carlton. The Washington football team. They got a beastly D-line. They are just a quarterback away from really having something, from contending, from competing.
They got running backs.
Who's that running back right now for them? It slips my mind.
Antonio Gibson from Memphis. He had a rookie year. He was awesome this year. They got McLaurin, the receiver. They got talent, man. What they're missing is the quarterback. If they could figure out the quarterback, they could compete.
So let me bring it back then. So, all right, Mo, we accept your response to your pick, but what about the game itself? How do we feel about how that went? I was a little underwhelmed personally.
I thought that shit was
I like seeing the perform. I like seeing Brady perform. I like seeing the defense dominate. Right, like half of what we saw was fun, and it was good to see AB get a touchdown. Gronk looked like he had some gummy berry juice. But the kind of game that we thought it would be, the GOAT and the kid, I was disappointed.
Okay. You wanted more of a quarterback duel, and you didn't get it.
I wanted points. Yeah, Kansas City scored 1,500 something points a game. They got 9.
See, I didn't
where
care
they do that at.
I just wanted a close game. Like any Super Bowl that doesn't involve my Niners, I just want a close game. The fact that it was a blowout and Tampa literally dominated pretty much from the beginning of the game till the end made it a boring game to me, unless you're a Tampa fan.
Right.
I want to address the people that are blaming the refs for this game or think that
they never played.
Man, that's bullshit. One, there was 2 bad calls. And I completely agree with the people. The defensive holding where they got the interception, that to me was not defensive holding. And the pass interference that they called on Mike Evans in the back of the end zone. There's no way Evans can catch that ball. So it's not pass interference to me. But Carlton and
It didn't lose a game.
No, if you score 9 points and you're supposed to be the best offense in the league, that's what cost you the game. It was not the referees. They didn't score a touchdown. They have nobody to blame but themselves. Like, this is not touchdown. A close game where you can say, oh, this call cost them the game. It was 31-9. The fuck are you talking about? And some people have been saying, well, those calls would change the game. If Kansas City is mentally weak enough to the point where those calls had them so fucked up to where they couldn't find the end zone, they deserve to lose anyways. They got absolutely dominated, man. Like, you can't bitch about the refs when you score 9 points and your quarterback is Patrick Mahomes and you have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Like, that's just Tampa deserves the Super Bowl.
Tampa deserved it. Brady deserved it. So now Brady clearly is the football GOAT. I've seen a couple memes and internet conversations around Jordan and Brady. Is Jordan still the greatest athlete? At all. Okay.
I don't mind.
The sports are too different. The eras are separate. I don't like when we look. You can have your football GOAT in your back, but like to be GOAT overall for all athletes and you only play this one, that's reckless talk. That's too much hyperbole for me. And I'm somebody that likes exaggerating. So no, I'm good on that. He's the most accomplished NFL player or the greatest NFL quarterback. But as far as greatest athlete, come on, man. He doesn't pass Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali for me.
Well, that's, ESPN some time ago did their top 100, and I think they even had a horse somewhere in there. So, that's what I think about if merging sports, but I feel you on your point. True. What say you, Mo?
I don't mind the hyperbole at all. To Craig's thing, Craig, when you say like Jim Brown is a better athlete, you are you're putting your definition of what an athlete is on that. Like Jim Brown was big, fast, strong. Does he have all of that over Brady? Yes. Brady's athleticism comes from his ability to throw the ball. That is his athleticism. His arm talent is his athleticism. So, I don't think we can judge Brady's athleticism. And when they say athlete, I feel like they're saying, who is the greatest sportsman in American history?
And I get that. But if you don't say that, that's
what I feel like they're truly.
Even back to last week's thing, if you ask me who my favorite 5 MCs are, and you ask me who the best 5 MCs are, that list gonna change. A couple of ones on my favorite list, I don't think are really technically very good, but they make me, they give me that energy. So like going over here to football, it's like, or sports in general, like for me, the semantics, it matters. I try not to harp on it too much because not everybody gets it, but this is my thing. He is a tier 1 sportsman. He is one of the greatest throwers of the ball of all time. I got to tip my hat because he has all these accomplishments, all these rings, but has he been my favorite to watch? Yeah, I don't think so, but I tip my hat. Greatness is greatness. 7 rings, bro. You have more than this individual man has more rings than any organization in the NFL.
I would love to answer the question because I don't mind it. To me, it's still Jordan. Even though Brady has more titles than Jordan, Carlton, I would still
never answered my bag.
And the reason why I would take Jordan is Jordan as a basketball player has a greater impact on the game, on the result of his sport, on the game, than Brady has on his. Even though Brady is the quarterback. Brady needs a lot of shit to go right for him to be successful, dog.
He needs at least 5 other people to do their job, minimum.
Look at Mahomes. Mahomes had 2 O-linemen out, and he went from being what we consider to be the greatest young quarterback we've seen to being pretty much inept because his team, his O-line wasn't doing the job. So because Jordan has a greater impact as an individual for his team, I will still go with Jordan as being the greatest American sportsman in my eyes.
Where do you rank Ali?
Ali's up there, man, but
and does off the field, out the ring stuff factor in for you?
No, not to me. Carlton knows this about me, dog. I don't factor in. Like, if you ask me who do I think is a better role model for children, LeBron or Jordan, especially black children, I would tell you LeBron. But that doesn't mean I believe LeBron is a better basketball player than him. That doesn't.
I understand that.
He sure is trying, though. He is trying.
But I just don't believe he's a better basketball player than Jordan. Ali, the problem, Craig, is I don't think you can discuss him with Brady and Jordan in this discussion, because Brady is without a doubt the GOAT in his sport. Jordan it's being disputed somewhat now because of LeBron, but he is pretty much universally considered the GOAT in his sport. You can make
it's an age thing. Once we die off, that won't be the predominant mark. It's just that we're older. We own more radio waves and da. So right now that and Skip Bayless is beating that drum and trying to keep it alive. But even that's a bad idea. Basketball is so different from the 80s till now. Dog, when I started playing in the mid 80s, if you took a 3-pointer, remember the 3-point line was still new. Cats will call you pussy. They call you a punk because you were too scared to drive to the hole. Right? Or they'll tell you play like a white boy. You talk proper. You shoot a bunch of 3-pointers. You're Oreo. Like, it was really like that. That was mid 80s.
Tough living.
And some of these people that were on the Jordan dot, giving them metaphorical reach arounds a few months ago, man. I remember when we got here, they used to use little euphemisms. Oh, he's not really a basketball player. He's just a really good athlete. He can't shoot. He's no Larry. Like, it was so many other undertones with the whole Michael thing. Now, I enjoyed the fact that they changed the tone on the man between mid 80s to mid 90s to now, right? You watched it change, but they there were some people that championed him, but Jordan had his haters from the rip. And as far as him being the undisputed GOAT, no, I don't think that's undisputed anymore. And I think it should be disputed. I think a lot of times we hold on to musicians, athletes, or whatever from our generation, like our generation was flawless.
Better than Michael Jordan.
I'm gonna probably hold on to Jordan for a while, like a baby in his bottle.
It's not about holding on to anything. Like, I used to believe Joe Montana was the greatest quarterback of all time. I no longer believe that. So
that's where I'm going.
Yeah,
so eventually
someone came.
You got to make me let it go.
Yeah, someone came along and accomplished things greater than Joe Montana, to the point where I can't argue that Joe Montana is better than him. What I'm trying to do is, you're telling me right now about Jordan is undisputed. So my question to you is, who is better than Michael Jordan?
Okay, as far as all-time conversations, for people that put current players in all-time conversations, that's whack. When these guys retire, we'll stack up the careers and we'll see. When LeBron is done, I'll put them next to each other and make a decision. Right now, I'm going with Mike. Mike is retired. When LeBron is done, we'll stack them up next to each other and we'll see. I'm not, just because I grew up watching Mike and all that, man, screw that bias.
Well, let's play pretend. If LeBron retired today.
You've watched LeBron play too.
He's still playing.
But if he retired today, because some people say LeBron is the GOAT right now, if he retired today, you got him as being a better player than Jordan?
Not today, not me.
I mean, well, I'll pull it up and look at that point. At this point, it's close to me. I'm not gonna just automatically go Jordan on like no.
All right, we'll pull up the stats because I have
points, rebounds, block shots, steals, assists. It has other things going on. And everybody likes to rely on the ring count. Bro, the ring count, if we're going by ring count, it's not Mike. I'm standing on that argument.
Pull it up. I have a concession before we leave the Super Bowl altogether. Mo might like this. So Mo and I have known each other for a while. We have probably logged 1,000+ argument hours. Our longest running argument is, if I was starting a football team, who would be my quarterback?
Okay.
And up through February 7th, 2021, my quarterback was Peyton Manning. My quarterback to start my team was Peyton Manning.
Which was the fucking wrong answer, America.
Going forward, my quarterback will be Thomas Brady.
Thomas, middle name Brady.
Hey, go ahead and look up these LeBron numbers.
He elevated one too many people so many times. He did things and inspired things and came back on things, etc., etc. And we're in the age bracket now, so and he's still doing it. Peyton Manning is getting in the Hall of Fame, and Tom Brady is getting a Super Bowl ring. So
on the weekend,
you won that one, Mo. You won that one. But like Craig said, you got to give it time. I had to give it a couple years, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what LeBron is going to do. I'm just saying, as it stands right now, I also believe people are just quick to say LeBron is the second greatest player of all time. Like he's just jumped other people because people are prisoners of the moment. Craig, you're talking about the nostalgia of the past. What I'm telling you is people watch LeBron become prisoners of the moment, and
I agree to that.
This guy's better than Jordan.
That's why I'm not. That's why I'm not so quick to give it to him either. Like, because I know there's also everybody wants their generation to be the hypest generation. Everybody wants their crew to be the most lit crew. So they want their generation to be the greatest of all time. So any athlete that's popping in their generation must be better than the last. Okay.
And y'all finna debate, or can I switch? What y'all gonna do? Because I want to talk some news too, but I don't want to interrupt the debate.
You good?
All right.
I have a feeling we're gonna wind up coming back to this.
Jordan.
All right, that's all right. Do what you want. So, front pages, impeachment all day, every day. At this point, I guess it's clear that impeachment is warranted. But I guess we don't know which way it's gonna go.
The government loves wasting fucking time.
What'd you say?
Said our government loves wasting fucking time, dog. They hold the day to decide if impeaching him is constitutional. Like,
right.
There is a day for that. It's like, let's move on. Of course it's constitutional to impeach him for what he did. The purpose of it is to prevent you from running for office going forward. That is the real purpose of trying to impeach him at this point. So that part of it is definitely constitutional. Now they need to move on with this trial. And the question is, are enough of these Republicans going to stand up and have some kind of moral courage, some testicular fortitude, and vote to impeach this motherfucker? That is the real question here, because we know what the Democrats are going to do.
Well, look, some of these Republicans have any ambition at all.
But some of these Republicans were part of the coup. So how that's gonna work? If they were in cahoots,
we might mess around and bring them down too.
But they're at the point of deciding whether or not he gets impeached. So they're in cahoots, and then they're also in cahoots on the impeachment. So it's a lot of cahooting going on.
I believe at least 6 of them will vote. They need a 2/3 vote to get this passed. So I don't know if they'll be able to drum up enough Republicans to impeach him. Like, just to be honest with you, man, I just don't see it happening. They lack the morals because they want the votes from Trump's people. Dog, look what they're doing to the Republicans that are saying that what he did is awful and it is an impeachable offense. Excuse me. Two senators got censured by their state Republicans for supporting this impeachment. That's fucking ridiculous. They're saying they're wrong for calling him out for his bullshit.
Well, you see, there's certain people that operate with crew over principle. Mm-hmm. Some people are principle over party. Some people are party over principle. I'm not, that's how I see it. Now, I think that's how those people think in particular. What trips me out is if any of them had any ambition at all, you definitely set it up so that he can't run again, so that new blood, he could still, not that I'm trying to give ideas, but he's better off running from behind the scenes or doing things from behind the scenes anyway. And I don't think he's really running things anyway in his operation, but that's another conversation. What I'm saying here is, if I was a Republican senator, I would hope that I'd have the courage to do the right thing and be honest and hold him accountable for what happened.
Nope.
But on the flip side, my ambition will kick in, because when he's out the way, that creates a power vacuum for other people to step in. Somebody else in the party has a chance to step up.
I think that's the dilemma, right? And I think some of them are probably bought in on your approach, Craig. And then there's others that are so wanting to maintain, retain, or connect to his supporters that they think that they're caught in that catch-22 where they have to align
they're gonna
with
vote for
Trump.
Somebody. Once he's off the table, they might choose you.
Or they stay home.
You know,
they could stay home too, which, you know, a stay home vote is, you know, helps the other side. So I'm guessing that's part of it as well.
See, Craig is right. They're like, I'm a Republican, so I vote Republican. I'm a Democrat, so I vote Democrat. Here's my question to both of you.
I don't think that way.
When do these people ever vote in favor of the people that voted them into office? When do they fucking ever do that? When do they look out for the people that elected them to these positions to look out for their best interest? They don't. All they do is follow the party line. Even people that vote, all they do is follow the party. When Obama was running, Craig and Carlton, I was watching people get interviewed, and I was watching this one gentleman, right? And he was saying he was a staunch Republican, according to him. That was his exact quote. I'm a staunch Republican. He goes, Obamacare has saved me and my wife's life. He says this. He admits this. He goes, we couldn't get health insurance before because we had pre-existing conditions. We were able to get it now. It is saving our lives. He goes, but I'm still going to vote Republican. And they go, well, are you concerned that they're going to get rid of it? He goes, I'm going to vote Republican and hope he doesn't get rid of it. They go, but he said he's going to get rid of it. He goes, yeah, but I'm still going to hold the party line and vote Republican. Dog, this motherfucker's willing to vote the party line even if it could kill him and his wife.
Typical 85.
How does that make sense?
It doesn't. But here we are.
Hey, man, sheep do, sheep does. Sheep by their behavior. That's sheep behavior.
So y'all are the educators. Y'all are the educators. What if the electoral college went away and it really was a popular vote? Would that potentially disrupt the party system so that it could be just, you know, voting for the best candidate versus what party?
You taking that first, Most?
I mean, they would never allow that, first of all.
Okay.
That would be over the Republicans' dead body before they made it a true popular vote. Electoral college. I mean, that favors them, dog. You got to think, like, where do the Democrats dominate? They dominate California and New York. These are huge population centers. Even in a place like Texas, where it's Republican, the major cities are Democrat. Like, they would, you know, the Democrats would romp into the presidency if that ever happened. No, I don't think it would change the party system, man. There's always going to be dueling ideals, dueling ideologies, and that will always create this competition. I just wish these people that were elected into office, you know, they could still be with their party, Carlton, but still do things to help the people that voted them in. They don't always have to vote with their party. How is that possible? Like, doc, I would consider myself, if you ask me, to be a liberal, but I'm not a liberal on everything. I'm not so far to the left that I can't be somewhat to the right on certain issues. It just,
I got a joke about that.
Yeah, how can you just be one way and be far leaning in that direction?
I'll say this: the party system, in order for that to get the way the parties get funded, the money that goes into or behind them, behind the candidates, I think that would be one of the first things, changing how or removing that altogether. Because essentially a lot of these people wind up being bought, right? If this person has dumped X amount of money into your campaign, when you get into office, he might be asking you to do some foul, immoral mess that you don't agree with, but He funded your current election, and he's probably going to fund your attempt at re-election. You're going to do what he/she asks you to do. In many cases,
word on the street is, you know, the funding truly backing the Republican Party is the evangelical Christians. And you know, you mentioned moral code, so I'm not even going to get into the morality of all of that. But I think both of you, you know, you make valid points. From a spectator's point of view, the Electoral College at this stage in the game feels extremely ridiculous. But
actually, I don't know, because
go ahead.
Look, it's part of why it was put in, right? Was to quote unquote protect from the rabble, right? There's a non-voter and a non-educated voter are equally horrible to me.
Dangerous. That's fair. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Both are, right? You go in there and you're just voting because you're tired of getting these text messages, or you voting because you're tired of these commercials, or you voting
it's a lot though, man. It's a lot. It's overwhelming.
But, yeah, so you go in there and, like Mo said, you might vote down party lines, but by voting down party lines, sometimes you vote for things that are against your personal interest.
That's fair.
So, I mean,
and so the Electoral College protects us from non-voters and voting.
I think it protects
without good information.
Yeah. Now, is it perfect at doing it? No. Am I for it? I'm not saying I'm for it. I just understand that was one of the motivations. And it also helps when you want to try to gerrymander some things, but that's another conversation.
Who do that? The Republicans?
I don't know what you're talking
about.
No.
Nah.
By the way, I live in Florida, so.
All right, dog.
Well, I'm in Texas, so good luck, right?
I am completely against the Electoral College. We're going to move on to something else. I will give y'all my reasons for that another time. The Electoral College needs to go. Just, in my opinion, needs to be a popular vote. The Electoral College, just real briefly, stems from the South trying to maintain their power during slavery. Essentially, what happened with the Electoral College is the South was concerned because the North had a greater population than them. So they were worried that the North would outvote them in all these elections. So they proposed this Electoral College so that they could get a share of the votes and that could help them win the election. Like, for example, for the first 36 years of the presidency, 32 of the years, the president was from Virginia because of the Electoral College. And their slickness in what they did with this is, you know, they were counting Black people as 3/5 of human, blah, blah, blah. With the Electoral College, when that gets instituted, they count the slaves as one person. So the slaves count as people to get them a bigger share of the vote, but the slaves can't vote themselves.
Well, ain't that nice?
So
get to be people. Not sure what they were the whole time, right? But hey, we got there. All right, so the other thing in the news, I don't think we've talked about this at all on our show, but it's COVID. We're in a pandemic. COVID-19 is still out there. There's different strains thought to be more contagious. I haven't quite heard anything that confirmed deadlier, but definitely hearing more contagious. But, you know, when I'm scrolling the gram, I see a whole bunch of people out there kicking it, right? In all cities, all over the country. Ain't gonna name no names. You know where you are. You know who did it. I'm still at the crib holding it down, but it looks like America's opening back up. Is it the vaccine? Is it people tired of being at home? Or was the fear always misplaced?
I would say it's a combination of those things and corona fatigue. Like, you've been in it so long, it's like, yo, bump that. Plus, also, I expect attitudes to get, steadily more laxed as vaccinations increased. Literally every day, somebody yells to me in a celebratory fashion, I got vaccinated. They're so excited. every day. Every single day, somebody yells that at me with excitement. So that's evidence that that part is happening. 6 degrees of separation is a thing, man. I'm getting to that later. With a lot of these incidents that happen around, you'd be surprised how the repercussions trickle. Like somebody here has a relative there or was there at the time or something. But sad to say this, the vaccination thing, I'm hearing regularly and daily, not just at work, like in the group, people are happily just, yeah, I'm waiting for my second one. And they tell you the date and they're all, I've never seen anything like it.
Well, what are your thoughts about the vaccine? At this stage of the game, I definitely was skeptical, hesitant, but where I sit today, I don't see a way around it. If things are going to get back to fun, get back to normalcy, get back to connecting, I got places I want to go. So, I don't know how else we go about doing that without getting the vaccine at this stage.
Well, let's see. Let's see how. Yeah, they're gonna vaccine X amount of people until we get to herd immunity. That's what they said. So let's see.
I mean, as Black people, I mean, to me, as any people in this country, whether you're Black or white, you should be a little skeptical of the government and vaccines. I could understand that if you look at this. I mean, this is a country, like, let's be honest, that sprayed Agent Orange in the forests in Vietnam without caring if it's to their soldiers or not. So I can understand why people are skeptical. But from the knowledge that, from what I've read, from what I've seen, I believe it is. See, the problem with the vaccine, right, is do you worry about, like, are there any side effects years down the road? Because those are the tests that they don't know about yet. So, but from what we know of, it appears to be safe. And like Carlton said, I love to travel. If this is going to allow us to travel or get to some kind of normalcy, I'm for it, but I am a little skeptical. I won't lie to you boys and tell you like I'm gun ho for it. I would do it, but I am like a little nervous about it. I can't lie to you.
I'm a skeptic.
I'm skeptic.
Straight up.
My work.
They talk about how 17 out of 22 of these doctors approved it in Michigan. Well, yeah, and they mention how blah blah blah. See, I just want all the facts and let me make my decision. So I'm the kind that, I want to, those 5 doctors, epidemiologists, virologists, whatever, that voted the other way. I went and read their reasons why. I went and listened to their little video clips as to why. Because just because the majority said something, I don't think the minority should be ignored. I've lived long enough to see alleged conspiracy theories of my childhood get proven true by the time I become an adult. I've lived to see different things happen in a way that I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not apologetic about being skeptical on this one, Most.
Oh, I told you I'm nervous. And just like you said, from the data that I can gather currently, I feel okay about it. But my issue is more so like, I don't know what could happen in the future if you get this vaccine. Like, no one could tell you if there's a side effect that could happen to you 3 years from now. You see what I'm saying? So that part of it makes me nervous. But, from talking to my friends in the medical field that I trust with my life, they tell me it's safe. So I'll defer to them. They know better than me for sure.
Yeah, I respect
that. My career started in healthcare, and so I still have friends, colleagues that are superstars in the industry, and the vast majority of them, as a part of just organizational initiatives, being frontline workers, have gotten both rounds. So the short-term side effects seem to be okay. Some people sick, had a day or two where they were out, but overall nobody's turned into a zombie. But I think, we don't know the long-term effects. We don't know the long-term effects of COVID. We don't know how it's going to morph and how long it will be around in our society. So, it's almost 6 in one hand, half a dozen from my standpoint. And, I'm erring on the side of getting
Six of
back
one
to
thing,
life
half
right
dozen of the
now.
other. Yeah.
Say it one more time for the Caribbean family. Make sure they hear you.
Mother used to always say 6 of one thing, half a dozen of the other. Like, same thing. I want to throw back real quick. I kind of think as far as the election goes, quarantine might have wound up being a blessing, bro.
Oh, yeah.
The kids take politics to school. I've been in school. I've been teaching for the 2000, the 04, the 08. I'm not going to keep going because obviously I'm still teaching. And the temperature of the classroom in many of those years wound up being a pretty good predictor of the outcome locally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes nationally, right? And also they bring the politics from home. The last 4 years has been very contentious. And I kind of think not having the kids not being in school, we dodged a lot of fights that would have come from kids bringing their parents' politics to school. Like even in the 08 election, there was days, remember how many artists made songs shouting out Obama. Remember that Lil Wayne where they flipped a milli instead of a milli, they were Obama, 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 Obama. Dog, the kids were walking into my classroom singing it syllable for syllable for weeks before the election. Every race, size, gender, everything. I knew what was going to happen. Right? Their parents knew the songs.
A lot of things
40%
unfolded.
of my kids are Spanish.
I think it's a lot of things that contributed to the outcome, in this, this presidential election. And you think about how close it was, one decision to the left or right, Trump wins. If Biden had one more gaffe or gaffe, what is it? Gaffe or gaffe? If he had one more gaffe, Trump wins. So, it's so many things in the equation. I'm not saying
that's the sole predictor. Definitely not.
Yeah. No, but I without it, without quarantine, he wins. Without this, that, or the other, each little step made the difference.
I want to say what I'm trying to say is that quarantine was a blessing in terms of, I think in that moment, I'm speaking from a teacher perspective, because like I said, over the years, the kids bring their politics to the room. And I think I've watched bar scuffles between adults fighting over, shoving matches over politics, like it's like things that we usually, talk down our noses about and say that's third world country behavior, right? I've witnessed that
it's the U.S. now.
Yeah,
sports bars are not the same.
In a suburbia where the median income is way above it's above the median income, right? These are how they're acting.
To me,
the weekends at the sports bar are not the same since, or at least since Trump was president. So I'm looking forward to that potentially coming back around, where I could just go someplace and enjoy it without getting into a fisticuff about something going down in DC. You said you got something, Mo?
I don't feel like the quarantine was a blessing. Like, I understand what Craig was saying, but that is what we need to teach our kids, is to be able to disagree on your politics, to be able to disagree on things and be better than these current adults, and not resorting to these primitive ways of handling things, man. You need to be able to go through your life and be able to agree and disagree with people. That is part of life. You can't avoid that. Like, that is just part of life. We need to teach our kids to be better. And it's not a blessing to me, because we innately are social beings, especially our children. And they don't get that social, like everyone's worried about them falling behind in their academics, which is absolutely true, but they're falling behind in their social development too. They don't get to interact with their friends. They don't get to interact with their teachers, whether they like their teachers or not. That interaction will prove to be positive for them later on in life, because you're going to have an asshole boss one day that you don't like too.
Can I ask you a question, Most?
Situation. Yeah, go ahead, Doc.
My age group, they will complain all year long about having to come to school, but will bawl their eyes out on the last day of school because they gonna miss school on the last day of school for summer, right? And I think part of it is the realization hits them that the only time you really, unless you play in sports or you got a hobby with somebody else that goes to your school, the QT that you get with your friends comes in school.
Oh yeah. I mean,
so it's like you know what I mean? They complain about it, but they low key love it. And some
QT is a love language, and so I actually want to jump back and be clear. We talk about blessings and things specific to Trump not being in office. Overall, let's be clear: the COVID-19 is a horrific plague over the world, and for those of our listeners who have been impacted by it, our hearts and prayers go out to you. I think from my standpoint, let's get Trump out of office. So yeah, that's a win.
My bad if I sounded insensitive on that.
No, I feel you.
Yeah, I just thought about that. Yeah,
blessing's
kind of strong of a word, I guess.
Well, I think blessing is also perspective, right? I think if you've lost somebody or have been impacted yourself, and you can't taste, you can't smell, you can't figure out, like it feels terrible. And I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm in no position to even articulate your feelings.
Yeah. From my standpoint, and I want to be clear. I wasn't talking necessarily about COVID. I was just saying the kids not having the opportunity to argue out. On the one hand, yes, you're right. If you're there, you want to take an opportunity to teach and learn. But the environment, there's plenty of places where they interact and we're not there, and sometimes things elevate and escalate. So from that perspective, I'm like, you know what? As contentious as it has been, knowing that the kids mirror what they see at home in school, like, you know what I mean, and bring things with them. From that, in terms of confrontations you'd have to deal with in school and that environment, that's what I was speaking of.
Oh, that's fair. And my only point is that, for me, the blessing is this is giving for those, again, if you've lost somebody, you still suffer for some things, prayers your way. From my standpoint, the pandemic has brought in my world a deeper appreciation for gratitude, a deeper appreciation for waking up and seeing the sunrise, a deeper appreciation for the relationships, even if we're not physically connected. I love the Zooms with my family. I love the Zooms with the frat brothers. Now the Zoom in meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, that's on a whole nother level. But in general, I have connected with gratitude on a whole nother level, beyond what I could have imagined had it not been for this pandemic. So I think there are blessings in all things if we're in a place or space to be able to find them.
Yo, you know what? I got back to writing. I got back into hobbies and things that I don't know when, why, how, or how long I put them on the shelf and deferred them, but they really helped me. That's one of the things I'm grateful for, is the fact that I was able to, one, reconnect with some people during the quarantine time, Corona time, and also that I for my sanity, I was able to reconnect with some hobbies and activities that really keep me grounded. So those would be things I'm thankful for out of it.
Is that your way of saying you're gonna do some spoken word on the show, a future episode?
Why not?
All right. I'm write it down. Write it down. All right. So flipping pages in the switching away from the news section, entertainment. So we started with the Super Bowl. Usually we get into what you're listening to, what you watch, but we all watched and listened to the Super Bowl halftime show. Who want to go first?
I'm gonna be real. I ain't see it.
Oh man,
I saw
what you doing? You saw it? Did you see it,
And I
Muhammad?
actually like The
Yeah, I
Weeknd as
saw
an artist,
I
but
saw the shit. I think he's a talented artist, man. That just shit wasn't my cup of tea. I would say for me, Carlton, I would say it was like an average show. Um, I thought it
Scale of
was
1 to 10, you give it a 5.
yeah, like a 5 or a 6. I'd probably give it a 6. I thought the shit was weird with the guys with the mask, but I think that plays into some persona he has or some shit.
Right.
Yeah, it was just all right. It wasn't my cup of tea. It was just all right.
I
Well,
saw a little
I
video breakdown about what it was supposed to mean, about him losing himself in after stardom and fame, and the why he had so many people looking like him. I guess, had to symbolize with losing himself and
I
all the
know
different
that
sides of
that
himself and
shit
all
where
this other blah blah blah.
where
It
he's
was,
in his room and he's like lost and shit. I know that shit's become a meme.
yeah. He's a
yeah, he got a couple
he
memes
puts
out
more
there.
thought in than people give him credit for, man. But when that just wasn't the energy I was feeling. So no, I didn't watch them. I don't when I'm watching football, I don't want to hear The Weeknd.
I
Actually,
mean,
I'm a
that's fair.
Weeknd fan. I have his album, but I ain't want to hear it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. He's not a football singer per se, but I liked it. For me, and I may be on the island with this one. I felt like this is a Super Bowl show. I watched the Super Bowl for the game, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
Michael Jackson did a show some time back. It was great. Justin and Janet was great for its own set of reasons, but for me, it was a quality show. And I think The Weeknd is a great singer, so all the songs were good. Again, did anything motivate me for the second half of the game? No. But, if you're going to do a show, it was a good show. So
Oh,
Mo said a 5, 6. I give it a 7, 8. Beyonce's show, we already talked about the danger of the beehive, but Beyonce's show some years ago, that was live.
many of our friends and peers are in that beehive, CI.
Don't I know it? Don't I know it? And I don't want
And
none of that drama.
Janet Jackson didn't show a set. She just showed one titty. It wasn't a set. It was just one.
Fair.
Which
But
I
it was still a good showing.
only because that happened. I didn't think like.
No, I love JT, man. It was a good show.
I
That
don't
was
mind.
just the
I don't mind
icing.
either. What do you mean? That was
That
the
was
icing.
the icing on the dominatrix cake. That's
I don't
all.
know, man. You might think
Man.
I'm crazy. My favorite Super Bowl halftime show, and I know like this might be crazy, but I thought Bruno Mars killed his performance at the.
That was a good show
He's
too.
generally a
That
good
was a good
performer,
show.
though.
That was a
yeah,
good show.
I've seen him in concert a couple of times, man. With Kamaria, we're fans. Yeah, he does put on a great show. He
He
does.
is
I
generally
like
a
the
good.
one when Madonna, when she smacked Britney on the booty. That was good. I'm a Madonna fan though, so
Do
I
y'all
might
see
be
a
biased.
theme in what we like in our halftime shows, America? A theme here.
Yeah. It's judgment free zone. So I had another pick just in, sticking with the theme of music. So Morgan Wallen, country singer, racial slur, right? Is he racist? Is he not racist? We could talk about it. What he did wasn't anti-racism for sure, but his record sales are soaring, right? They was one level, they were one place on one day. Racial slur comes out, country music sales soar. I didn't buy it. I didn't stream it. I didn't download it. I have country fans in my life, but what that tells me is it's probably a segment that are helping inflate these sales. So what does that say about us as a country, or is it even say anything we don't already know?
I am unapologetically not surprised. Like,
It surprised me. For some reason, I was surprised that the record sales went up. And I
see, you got to
I make
remember.
mistakes, but I was still a little surprised.
Here's what I think. It's still fresh in my mind that there are people who heard. For me, it's a little bit of logic. If A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C, right? So, or A is greater than B, B is greater than C, then A is greater than C, all that crap. So here's where I'm going with that. Just a few months ago, there were people that heard a candidate align himself with people that have genocidal ideology.
You're right. You're right.
And rocked with that dude anyway, fam.
Silly me. You're right. Nah, you're right.
And some of these people are would be the target of said ideology, and they still rocked with him.
Yep.
The fact that those humans exist are the reason why I'm not one drop surprised.
You're right. You're right. You're right. I was watching when it first came out. I was watching, whatever news network say, is Morgan Wallen's career over? And pundit after pundit, yeah, you can't come back. It's not acceptable. 2021, it got Donald Trump kicked out of the White House. Blah, blah. And then the record sales went up. So I guess I got hopeful. Not even hopeful because I don't want his career ruined. It wasn't anti-racist. But I guess I expected the outcome to be aligned with my alignment, which isn't realistic. So,
my man, it's a
valid point.
I say this: keeping your energy sometimes could be tough. Like, that there's certain companies or certain people that align with certain things. So, like, for instance, there's businesses that are closer to me that I have to drive by and go to the competitor just because of who they rock with. That's what it is. And so I if that person, the companies that rock with him and his products, I won't rock with them as best as I can. I can't do anything about anything else.
He's a country music singer, Carlton. Like, he's a country music singer. You got to take into account his audience. And some of that audience, they didn't even know who the hell he was until he got into this controversy for saying what he said.
What does that say?
I mean,
right.
When you become his fan for that reason, what does that say?
Right.
To tell you. So
there's your motivation. There's an album I want.
This is like a perfect example to me of like systematic racism, like country music, for example, right? Country music is nothing more than rhythm and blues. It's like country white people's rhythm and blues
without the bass drop.
And they call it country music. So there's some country music that I've heard and that I like, but I'll give you an example of racism with this. Lil Nas X drops his song that every motherfucker in this world loved, right?
Fire.
And they know it. Yeah, and they know it and they're singing it and it's killing the country charts. And what do they do to Lil Nas X? They classify it as not being a country song because here's this little black kid breaking into, one of your holy sacred traditions that you've managed to, in your mind, maintain as being exclusive to you. So you get him kicked out, and then he has to do a remix with Billy Ray Cyrus, and it gets back on the charts or whatever.
He had to go get a G pass.
He had to go get
a pass.
Yeah, he had to go get Billy Ray Cyrus.
The fact that on our
Thank you, though, Billy Ray.
He really made country music. He shouldn't have. See, that's how you know it's fucked up. Excuse me. That's how you know it's messed up because I had to use the word should. Right? The fact that he needed a pass.
Yeah, I'm glad Billy Ray did what he did. But my point here, my greater point is that this black kid, they did everything they could to keep him off their chart. When it comes to this white dude, he says the N-word and his numbers skyrocket. And then
to the moon.
And you have people that are like, there is no systematic racism in this country.
And that is,
I present to you Exhibit A, Exhibit fucking A.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I think you could go the whole alphabet a few times if you want exhibits.
It just, and his sister,
Roman numerals
on it, and his sister is like, her brother is not like that. And to me, like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. You know what I'm saying? I read his quote. I did hear what he said. And he didn't use the N-word with the ER. He used it with the A. If that makes a difference. To me, it doesn't. Whether he's a racist or not, I can't speak to what's in his heart. But what I do know is he knows that would be offensive to black people. And he's still chooses to use it freely because he feels he's privileged enough to just let it fly like that whenever he wants.
Yeah, I think
Now,
he got
and
to
it's the
start on The Voice.
with that said,
Maybe.
he did later issue a statement. I don't know if I don't know if it's an official apology, whatever. He issued a statement later that acknowledged that that wasn't the appropriate selection of words.
I mean, obviously,
Right.
when you get caught, that's not the
So
appropriate
I know I'm just
selection of
saying,
words.
I think if we're going to talk about all this, I'm going to put it on the record. The man issued a statement addressing it and acknowledging that it was definitely not cool. That's not a quote. I don't have it memorized.
All right. Well,
Yes, he definitely issued an apology. He hasn't spoken on it since. If I was him, I wouldn't speak on it again anymore either. I just keep watching my record sales go up.
Facts.
See, the problem here, Carlton, too, is there's white people that they're, even if you said they're not racist, they don't care that he uses the N-word. That means nothing to them. That has no effect on them. It doesn't affect their lives. So it's that point, like I really believe this. It's not good enough to just be like, well, I'm not racist. You have to be anti-racist. Yeah, you have to be like, I'm
with that.
I'm so
pro-humanity is anti-racism, baby.
I'm so against him using this word that I won't support his music. That's what we need to see from certain white people if they want to show that they're like allies and truly helping to fight for equality. You know, you don't see that. You see his sales skyrocket. And that's because people are not anti-racist. They're not anti-racist.
Well,
they're like, him saying the N-word, what the fuck does that have to do with my life? That doesn't affect me. I don't give a shit.
Again, I go back to, I get it, and I understand it, especially because the election, the turnout, who turned out for who, all that's still fresh in my head, man. His sales don't surprise me one drop.
And then how many of these parents in their white suburban homes hear their teenage sons call their teenage white friends the N-word? Like, they call each other that because they hear it in rap songs and shit. And these parents hear him saying it and they're just like, you know, when they hear this guy say it, they're just like, oh, my kid does that too. My kid does that too. He's not a racist. He's just throwing it around because he hears it in rap songs.
Well, do we take it out of rap songs? Have we empowered the looseness?
I don't make enough rap songs to do that.
I got a real.
I mean, my answer is no. It is what it is. Express yourself.
Yeah,
but
what'd you say, Mo?
My thing to you, I said, I'm not telling you to take it out of rap songs. What I'm saying to you though is, rap is for everyone, right? Like, even though it's part of Black culture, it's shared with every culture. So we all agree on that.
We agree.
We like to rap the lyrics of the song. What are they supposed to do when the N-word comes up in the song?
So are you saying say what you say in the comfort of your own space, just when you out in general public, keep it to yourself? Unless you at the concert and you get approval, because Jay-Z, Kanye did that once. They gave the crowd approval for the Negroes in Paris.
Yeah, but does that make it right? That's what I'm saying, man. I think that's a greater.
It's complex. It's complex.
But it's such a deep issue to. I don't know.
It's complicated.
Yeah, look. If that's in your vocab, that's in your vocab. I listen to some grimy music, so whatever. I'm not gonna. Yeah, man. Like,
was my pacifier.
You gotta read that. That's the other half of how I was cheering for the Raiders for so long. Please remember, I was heavy on that NWA when we were young, bro. I was heavy
you
on that.
Change the whole mood. You're gonna change the whole mood. Love NWA.
So
all right.
I appreciate some aggressive music. I understand the language. I understand that it's been a part of the culture for a long time. I just think you make your choice as to if you use it, how you use it, and who you accept it from.
I mean, the thing that I will say, man, is you can't just be a white person walking around amongst black people just saying the N word, whether it ends with an A or an ER, freely and expect something not to happen. Uh, there are societal norms and civility that should be fucking followed, and that is key. So I will say that.
Well, so in some, Morgan Wallen, we forgive you.
No, I
We
don't fucking
advocate
forget
for.
him. Carlton
I
fucking
forgive
forget him.
you. You
I don't
forgive.
fucking
He
forget him.
forgive for Mo.
That's
Let's
fucking
forgive. Right. We rising above. Right. We rising above. We're not
Listen,
saying
Michelle
do it
will take
again.
you to.
listen,
Michelle will
this
tell
is
you to go high, most.
this is the first
Let's go high.
time.
We're gonna go.
This is the
We
first
well
time he's
play. Let's
got
play
caught.
pretend.
This is not the
Let's
first
play
time he's
pretend.
done this.
What you say?
This is not the first time that he's done this. This is just the first time he's been filmed and got caught.
No, and that's
Mm-hmm.
fair. And that's fair.
Uh,
But he apologized. And so what we're saying, or what I'm saying, Mo don't want to forgive you, Morgan. I'm offering you forgiveness. I'm offering you pursue anti-racism. For those people who help to escalate or skyrocket your sales solely because you demonstrated racism. I offer prayers in their direction, and I hope one day they do better, because we definitely got our hands full. Half of the country, or a significant percentage of the country, still has significant struggles with the color of people's skin if it's not white.
And Morgan Wallen is one of them motherfuckers. You know how I give props to dog? I give props to Jason Isbell. Jason Isbell is a writer on Morgan Wallen's album.
Yes.
You know, his money has been increasing because of the uptick in sales.
Yes.
And he is donating all of the money that he is making from the song on the album to the NAACP. I'll give him props.
Yeah, in their local area, right?
Yes,
Yeah. So
I'll
good for
give
you,
him
Jason.
props.
Good for you. Is he one of your heroes? Is you? Because
Not one of my
it's time to
heroes,
say
but
goodbye. So
I appreciate him.
so he not a hero. He just get an appreciation. He
And I
gets an
appreciate
honorable mention.
yes, honorable mention.
Okay.
Honorable mention. Just
I have a
real quick.
buffoon though.
Oh, go ahead, Craig. Please feel free.
No, I'm
Yeah,
saying when we
accolade
get to
time.
buffoon, I got a buffoon.
Let's start
It's
it off.
time.
With man.
Go
I
ahead.
always
We'll start there.
Go ahead,
All
Craig.
right, man. Remember the Karen thing from a while back?
See.
Part of her doctrine while we were sitting there, just a quick update. I was enjoying a sporting match with a fine meal in front of me, not intentionally not talking to anybody really. I had a brief conversation with Karen's plus one who was sitting between us, socially distant, of course. Just because, like I said, he had on the Bama hat, SEC, rah, rah, rah. One of her issues throughout the whole thing was a couple sitting across the bar. She saw a very fit man sitting with a woman that she assumed to be Chinese. And she was, I felt, I was so embarrassed, even though I didn't know this woman, because she was so loudly talking ish about this couple who was just trying to enjoy a meal, right? She that the very fit man was a soldier. She was like, he's obviously military. I mean, oh my God, isn't that should never happen? Somebody
That's
from
how
our
she sound.
military should never be with someone from China. It blew my mind. And I tried to hush her. Like, I tried to change the subject. It was amongst all her other loudly spewed racial whatever, right? It was so, like, imagine being on a date and you just chilling. You know when you get in the vibe, shorty grabbing on your arm, all that other good stuff. And this is what's going on across the bar, man. Yo, Karen is my buffoon. You're still lingering with me weeks later.
All right. Well, we'll say a prayer for that one too then. Let that dissipate.
Yeah.
All right, Mo, what you got?
All right, I'm going to start off with one of my heroes. One of my heroes, man, is going to go out to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coaching staff.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out to them. I want to give a shout out to their head coach, Bruce Arians. I feel he is an ally in the fight for equality and trying to help Black coaches progress in the league. I just want to read off some names to y'all real quick. These are some of the coaches on his staff. Harold Godwin, assistant head coach, run game coordinator, African American gentleman. Todd Bowles, defensive coordinator, African American. Byron Leftwich, offensive coordinator, African American. Keith Armstrong, special teams coordinator, African American. Mike Caldwell, inside linebackers coach, African American. Antoine Randall L., offensive assistant, African American. Larry Foote, outside linebackers coach, African American. Marel Javadafar, and I apologize if I mispronounced the name. She is the assistant strength and conditioning coach. Roger Kingdom, African American speed and conditioning coach. Lori Locust, assistant D-line coach, female. Todd McNair, African American running back coach. Casey Rogers, African American D-line coach. Kevin Ross, cornerbacks coach. Keith Tandy, African American defensive special teams assistant. That is the type of ally that I like to see. That is someone that is not just talking about equality. He's actually doing something to try to help African Americans progress. And I have another question.
Most, I feel like you just gave somebody listening a new favorite team. I feel like you did that.
Oh no, we're not going for the Bucks next year. Forget that. Brady back to the bottom, baby. Brady is back to the bottom.
Somebody just became a fan off of that list, though.
Another, it's phenomenal. They have 2 female coaches on it.
That was my favorite
African American coaches. It's outstanding. Their commitment to giving people that are deserving the opportunities that they deserve. So that is one.
I'm gonna throw 2 cents on that.
Go right ahead.
Because yes, that list shows all levels of anti-racism, but just the fact that it's diverse in terms of sex and gender, that's also, man, that man is pro-human.
Clap,
that
clap, clap.
Awesome.
Clap, clap, clap.
So major props to them. My other thing, and I'll transition into a buffoon here, the NFL owners. What the fuck? Like, in this Super Bowl, you had an African-American offensive coordinator on both sides. You had an African-American defensive coordinator on Tampa. You have all these African-American coaches on Tampa side. Nobody even talked about Byron Leftwich for a head coaching job. He wasn't even mentioned. Didn't even get an interview. Eric Bieniemy interviewed for all 7 positions and was overlooked for God knows what, because none of the excuses fly anymore. Oh, we don't know if he calls plays. Well, they hired plenty of white coaches this offseason that don't call plays. We don't know. He doesn't interview well. Two of the coaches they hired, Dan Campbell in Detroit, and I can't even pronounce the asshole's name in Philadelphia. They sounded like complete morons in their press conference, and they somehow got jobs as well. So they really need to look at, and Carlton, the problem is they're trying to tell everyone else to be diverse. The problem is you need to look at the 32 owners and you need to help them with their diversity training. That is where the problem lies. These owners can't stomach the thought of a Black man being the coach, being the face of their franchise, and it holds Black people from getting jobs that they deserve. It's bullshit. That shit needs to absolutely change. And Goodell needs to take a page from Bruce Arians' book and stop talking about it and actually do something about it. Secondly, my other heroes, and this is not a hero. This past week, Travion Martin would have been 26 years old. I wish he would have been here to see it. it always makes me sad to think about Trayvon Martin. Every time I look at my boy, I just sometimes think about Trayvon Martin because it's something that creeps into my mind, a concern. Also, like to wish this past week a happy birthday to the legendary Bob Marley. The music is timeless. Craig is Jamaican. Bob Marley, I just love the music. Favorite
in more
Bob
ways
Marley.
than one.
Yes, favorite Bob Marley song, redemption song for me. Carlton.
No Woman, No Cry.
My second favorite Bob Marley song, Craig.
I don't wanna wait in vain for your love.
All right, you in your feelings.
I love it. And my buffoons of the week, man. Anybody that is a Republican, a Democrat, anybody that supports Donald Trump's bullshit and doesn't think that he should be impeached is a buffoon. Any last one of you that fucking thinks that for some
most
this asshole shouldn't be impeached really need to look in the mirror and reevaluate.
Well, you know, Most, I'm not sure I know how you really feel, bro.
No,
I was gonna say, I need to get the fire extinguisher.
The nerve of some of these Republicans in their little state Senate to censor other Republicans that are trying to impeach him or speaking out against him. Grow a spine and be decent human beings.
Onions.
At least pretend to be decent human beings.
¿Tiene cojones?
Bunch of clowns. Oh, I wanted to correct myself on something real quick. I said that when I was talking about the electoral, I said they counted the slave vote as one vote. They did not. They did not count the slave vote as one vote. They counted it as 3/5 of a vote. But to give you an example, Virginia, which had a smaller free population than Pittsburgh, had 20% more electoral votes because of the amount of slaves they had. Even at 3/5 count, the amount of slaves allowed Virginia to have more electoral votes than a place that had a bigger free population. And that is how they were able to maintain slavery for so long in this country. So I just wanted to correct myself.
All right, appreciate it. So my add-on, flipping through, came across again Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee show on Netflix. So I like to highlight masters of their craft. So it's something that Jerry Springer's put together. Got a couple seasons, I guess, or collections, I guess they call it. But Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. It looks at all our favorite comedians: Dave Chappelle, Jamie Foxx, Eddie Murphy. Again, Jerry Seinfeld, and it really, he has brief conversations with them about what they do, about how they got there. And I just love seeing people who are great at what they do kind of talk about how their mind works and even just what the grind is. So, to all those out there with your own hustle and you feel like you're struggling on your own, check that one out. See how Dave Chappelle got to where he got. See what drives Eddie Murphy. If you haven't seen it, I think you'll enjoy it.
The show is excellent. The show is absolutely excellent.
All right, fellas. Well, I think that wraps up our show for today. For sure want to thank all our listeners. We hear you. We got your feedback. We're going to continue taking it in and continue developing what we offer. But at minimum, we glad y'all like it, and we thank y'all for flowing with us. Fellas, any goodbyes?
Yeah, I appreciate everybody that listened and even more so subscribed. And I appreciate you letting me know you listened, even when you taking your shots. But I'm gonna deal with y'all later.
Pow, pow. Pow, pow.
I'm gonna deal with y'all later. It's cool.
Man, I just
keep sending them though. Keep sending them.
Yep. I appreciate y'all fucking with us. Whether you have a positive critique or a negative, just keep them coming. We'll continue to grow with y'all. We love y'all.
We're only gonna get better.
Keep rocking with us. Just keep rocking with us.
All right. Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. We thank you. And we'll connect when we do it again next time.
One love.
Later.
Unsolicited genius.
genius.
Unsolicited genius.
Craig D, Molat,
Unsolicited genius.
You are listening to Unsolicited Genius.